Hello everybody and welcome to Ravencast Gaming. This video is about the top 10 upcoming games 2016. At number 10, LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens. LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens is an upcoming LEGO themed action-adventure game based on the film Star Wars The Force Awakens. It will be the 5th entry in TT Games' LEGO Star Wars series. The game is scheduled for release on 28th of June 2016. For Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Nintendo 3DS, PlayStation Vita and Wii U. To be published by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment under license from Lucasfilm. In addition to adapting the film, the game will include content which covers the period between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. The gameplay of LEGO Star Wars The Force Awakens is similar to the previous video games. New systems are introduced, including multi-builds, a new system that grants players access to various building options which can be destroyed and rebuilt in the brick building sections of the game, allowing them to open up new paths in the game world. Players can hide behind cover and engage in range battles in several sections of the game known as blaster battles. The game features multiple playable characters, including Rey, Finn, Captain Phasma, Poe Dameron, Han Solo, Kylo Ren and droids, including C-3PO and BB-8, and locations including Jakku and Starkiller Base. In addition to adapting the film, it will also bridge the gap between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, where Lucasfilm will allow creative freedom to the additional content that will explore the characters' backstories. At number 9, Mirror's Edge Catalyst. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is an upcoming open-world action-adventure platform video game developed by EA Dice and published by Electronic Arts. It is a reboot of 2008's Mirror Edge and will involve around Faith's origin and her attempt to overthrow a totalitarian conglomerate of corporations who rule the City of Glass. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is a first-person action-adventure game in which players take control of Faith Connors as she progresses through a futuristic city called Glass. Similar to the original Mirror's Edge, players traverse the city using aspects of urban exploration and parkour movements to complete missions and evade enemies or knock them off their feet. Players can also make use of environmental objects such as zip lines and ledges and equipment including mag rope and disruptor to travel across buildings. When players mark an object on their map, Faith's runner vision is activated and some scenery items automatically highlight in red. These act as indicators to players whether a structure is climbable or not, and as guides to lead players towards their objective. The use of levels and linear gameplay found in the Mirror's Edge have been replaced with open world free roaming environment. This gives players more freedom in traversal, allowing for the use of multiple paths to reach one's objective. In addition to the campaign's missions, side activities such as time trials, races and environmental puzzles will be featured. DICE also promises that no loading screen will be included in the final game, allowing for freedom to travel within areas without loading delays. Additionally, items called grid leaks can be found across the world that can be controlled by players. Combat mechanics of the game received an overhaul and a new combat system was developed as traversal is greatly emphasised in the game. Also, though only used sparingly in the previous game, Mirror's Edge Catalyst has removed the use of guns by the players altogether, focusing on Faith's running and parkour movements and quick melee style attacks to take down enemies or evade her enemies. Faith enters focus mode while she is running. With sufficient focus, Faith can evade bullets from enemies. According to Sarah Johnson, the senior producer of the game, the combat and fighting featured will be an extension to the game's movement instead of a separate set. When Faith is performing a finishing move, the game switches to third-person perspective. Multiplayer features are also included. Instead of having a cooperative multiplayer or cooperative multiplayer mode, the game features synchronous multiplayer in which players' actions can affect the world for other players' games. Leaderboards for races will also be featured. At number 8, Battleborn. Battleborn is an online first-person shooter video game being developed by Gearbox Software. to be published by 2K Games for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Battleborn will be the first intellectual property created by Gearbox Studios since Borderlands in 2009. The game is to be released worldwide on May 3rd, 2016. Labelled as a hero shooter, the game will feature multiplayer online battle arena elements. Battleborn is a first-person shooter and multiplayer online battle arena element, in which players engage in combat through a first-person perspective. Unlike other first-person shooters, the quests and game modes of the game were designed to feature a format and structure similar to a multiplayer online battle arena game. The game will also feature a leveling system, which resets when a match begins. Players start with the same basic level, and they can unlock new skills and abilities during a match. When players gain enough skill points and are allowed to level up, they can select one of up to 3 choices to pick per level through each character's unique helix tree. The game will feature 25 playable characters upon release, with each having different abilities and weapons. For example, Raph is a melee based character who is equipped with a katana, while Fawn is a long range character whose primary weapon is a bow. Characters of supporting roles such as Maiko, who specialises in healing other characters of the same team, will also be playable. Each character also has their own ultimate ability. In addition to melee and ranged combat, characters can also cast magic and area of effect attacks. Characters controlled by artificial intelligence in multiplayer will also feature in the game. Players can also switch to third-person perspective to activate special abilities. A campaign mode, which can be played solo or cooperatively with 4 other players, will also be included in the game. The game will feature an interconnected world and an objective-driven narrative. 3 modes called Meltdown, an arena mode, Incursion, which tasks players to destroy enemies' base, and Devastation, which tasks players to capture bases, will also be playable upon launch. It was confirmed that the game requires a persistent internet connection to play to the game's progression and saving systems. At number 7, Overwatch. Overwatch is an upcoming multiplayer first-person shooter in development by Blizzard Entertainment. Unveiled at BlizzCon 2014, the game emphasises cooperative gameplay using a cast of various heroes, each with their own abilities and roles within the team. The game entered closed beta in North America and Europe on October 27, 2015, with plans to bring the beta to Asia at a later date. The game is scheduled to be released on May 24th, 2016 on Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Overwatch features squad-based combat with 2 opposing teams of 6 players each. Players choose one of several hero characters, each with their own unique abilities and role classes. The 4 character roles include offense characters with high speed and attack but low defense, defense characters meant to form choke points for enemies, support characters that provide buffs and debuffs for their allies and enemies respectively, such as the healing or speed alternatives, and tank characters that have a large amount of armor and hit points to withstand enemy attacks and draw fire away from teammates. Players can switch between characters in game following deaths, which is encouraged by the game's overall design. The game maps are inspired by real world locations. The first 3 maps, Unveiled, King's Row, Anamura, Temple of Anubis, are inspired by London, Japan and the ruins of ancient Egypt. There are 3 game modes. The first game mode is Assault. The attacking team is tasked with capturing 2 target points on the map, while the defending team must stop them. Escort. The attacking team is tasked with escorting a payload to a certain delivery point before time runs out, while the defending team must stop them. The payload vehicle moves along a fixed track with any player on the attacking team is close to it. In some escort maps, the attacking team has to capture the payload first before actually escorting it. Control. Each team tries to capture and maintain a control point until their capture percentage reaches 100%. This game mode is played in a best of 3 format. At number 6, Star Fox Zero. Star Fox Zero is an up-and-coming 3D scrolling shooter video game co-developed by Platinum Games and Nintendo for Wii U. After a delay from November 2015, the game will be released worldwide in April 2016. It is the 6th installment in the Star Fox series. Lead producer stated the game is neither a prequel nor a strict remake of the first game. while Nintendo stated it is neither a sequel nor a prequel to the series. A standalone tower defense game, Star Fox Guard, will be bundled with the game, which will add an all new perspective to the game. Star Fox Zero largely follows the classic gameplay of its predecessors, such as Star Fox 64, in which players control Fox McCloud as he pilots his air-wing craft through various levels. The game is controlled using the Wii U gamepad, with the left control stick used to maneuver the craft, while gyroscopic controls can be used to aim weapons. A cockpit view is displayed on the gamepad screen to assist with aiming. Various elements return from previous games, including Falco, Peppy and Slippy, who can assist the player to help them protect from enemy attacks, as well as Star Wolf team rivals Wolf O'Donnell, Leon Podolsky, Pig Madenga and Andrew O'Conney. Some of the game's vehicles can transform in situations. For example, the Airwing can transform into the Walker, which was first seen in the unreleased Super NES video game Star Fox 2, which lets the player freely walk around on platforms. The Landmaster can transform into the Gravemaster, which can perform extended aerial maneuvers. A new vehicle introduced to the series is the Gyro Wing, a drone-like helicopter which can lower a small robot that can enter small spaces and hack into computers. Several level locations have also returned, including Corneria, Zonus and Titania, while two new locations, Sector Alpha and Area 3, have been added. Gameplay footage suggests that the snowy planet Fortuna it was called in Star Fox 64, the asteroid belt Meteo and the missile route Sector Z may also appear, while a mysterious Fortuna returns completely revamped from Star Fox Assault. At number 5, Doom. Stylized as Doom and originally known as Doom 4, is an upcoming first-person shooter video game developed by ID Software and published by Bethesda Softworks. The game will be a reboot of the Doom series and is the first major installment in the series since the release of Doom 3 in 2004. Doom is set to be released on Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4 and Xbox One on May 13th, 2016. Doom will have badass demons, big effing guns of course, and moving really fast as key principles. According to ID Software executive producer Marty Stratton, the game will feature a large arsenal of weapons, which can be collected and freely switched by players throughout the game. Many classic weapons, including the Super Shotgun and the BFG 9000, will make a return. In addition, melee weapons such as a chainsaw, which can cut enemies in half, bloody hell that sounds good, and also featured many enemies from the original games like the Revenant. Yeah, that's where Leonardo DiCaprio, he comes out and tries to kill you. Nah, I'm joking. Mancubus and the Cyber Demon return as well. Some of them redesigned, as the combat system of the game puts emphasis on momentum and speed. The game allows players to perform movements like sprinting and double jumping. A combat system known as the push forward combat is featured, which discourages players from taking cover behind obstacles or resting to regain health, also known as a health regeneration system. I always expected like the game to be like this anyway, since it's kind of like Quake, that type of style. Players instead collect health and armor pickups scattered throughout the levels. Players instead collect health and armor pickups scattered throughout the levels, or kill enemies to regain health. A new mechanic introduced in Doom is the melee execution system. It allows players to perform a melee takedown similar to that of Brutal Doom, when players deal enough damage to enemies. Enemies available for melee takedown will be highlighted. ID Software states that Doom's campaign will be more than 13 hours long. Wow, that sounds good. And there's also a multiplayer, so that kind of like adds a lot to the game. You might see us play this on the channel sometime. It depends. I do not know yet, but you never know. At number 4, Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Deus Ex: Mankind Divided is an upcoming cyberpunk themed action role-play video game combining first-person shooter, stealth and role-playing elements. Developed by Eidos Montreal and published by Square Enix as a sequel to the 2011 Deus Ex: Human Revolution. Set 2 years after Human Revolution, Mankind Divided features the return of Adam Jensen. With new technology and body augmentations, It is played from the first-person perspective with a third-person perspective cover system. Deus Ex Mankind Divided is presented from the first and third-person perspectives and combines elements of first-person shooters with a role-playing upgrade system and dialogue trees. The game allows the player to tackle situations using combat, hacking, stealth and social interactions. Mankind Divided can be completed without killing any characters. Mankind Divided is set in the year 2029, 2 years after the events of Human Revolution and the Org incident, an event in which mechanically augmented humans became uncontrollably and lethally violent. Unbeknownst to the public, the affected augmented received implanted technology designed to control them by the shadowy Illuminati, which is abused by the rogue member of the group to discredit augmentations completely. The Illuminati successfully conceal the truth behind rumours and disinformation, while the augmentated are now outcasts from normal humans in an era of mechanical apartheid. The player character is Adam Jensen, an augmented former security officer now working with Interpol to capture a terrorist group with augmented humans. Jensen secretly works for the Juggernaut Collective, a hacker group helping him to confront the Illuminati. I played the last game and I played the games before that, and hopefully you'll see this on the channel. At number 3, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End. Uncharted 4, A Thief's End is an upcoming action-adventure third-person shooter platform video game developed by Naughty Dog and published by Sony Interactive Entertainment for the PlayStation 4 video game console. It is the sequel to Uncharted 3, Drake's Deception, and is the fourth and final installment in the Uncharted series starring Nathan Drake, as well as the last in the series to be developed by Naughty Dog. The game will be released worldwide on May 10th, 2016. Uncharted 4 is set several years after the events of Uncharted 3 Drake's Deception, with Nate Drake, now retired as a fortune hunter, settled into a normal life with his wife Eleanor Fisher. His world is turned upside down when his older brother Sam, long believed to be dead, suddenly reappears seeking Drake's help. Together they embark on a globe-trotting journey in pursuit of a conspiracy behind Libertalia, a long-lost pirate colony, and its fabled pearled pirate treasure. Naughty Dog outlined the game's plot as his greatest adventure yet, and will test his physical limits, his resolve, and ultimately what he's willing to sacrifice to save the ones he loves. We would play this game on the channel if we had a PlayStation 4, of course. At number 2, Final Fantasy 15. Final Fantasy 15 is an upcoming action role-playing game being developed and published by Square Enix for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, and currently scheduled for a worldwide release on September 30, 2016. It is the 15th main installment in the Final Fantasy series and forms part of the Fabula Nova Crystallis subseries, which also includes Final Fantasy 13 and Final Fantasy Type O, originally a PlayStation 3 exclusive spin-off titled Final Fantasy Versus 13. It is a major departure from the previous games, providing a darker atmosphere that focuses on more realistic human characters than the previous entries. The game features an open world environment and action-based battle system similar to the Kingdom Hearts series and Type O, incorporating the ability to switch weapons and other elements such as vehicle travel and camping. The game takes place on Eos, a world similar to modern day Earth. All the world's countries, bar the Kingdom of Lucis, are under the domination of the Empire of Nilfheim. Noctis Lucius Callum, heir to the Lucian throne, having gained magical power from a near-death experience driven from his own, when Nilfheim invades Lucius on the eve of peace negotiations between the two nations. Now on the run with his companions, Noctis begins to work towards defeating the forces of Nilfheim and rescuing the crystal from their control. Final Fantasy 15 is being developed by a team within Square Enix second business division, and is the first to use the company's Luminous Studio middleware engine. It was originally designed by Tetsura Nomura, who also designed characters and conceived the concept and base story in 2014. Co-director Hajime Tabata took Nomura's place as a director, while Nomura moved on to finish work on Kingdom Hearts 3. Final Fantasy 15 started production shortly before it announced in May 2016 under the name Final Fantasy Versus 13. The game's long development time and absence from the public eye gave rise to several rumours concerning its possible cancellation or shift to another platform in June 2013. It was eventually revealed to have been renamed to and to have switched systems from PlayStation 3 to 8th generation platforms. Final Fantasy 15 is an action role-playing game. The characters have the ability to traverse environments in a free-running style, which also extends to battle with larger enemies. A dynamic weather system in effect across the world, with transient effects such as rain affecting things such as characters' clothing. Markers can be placed around the environment to help with navigation. The world is large, connected landmass that can be explored on foot or by using the player's car, regalia or chocobus. Recurring galliform birds in the Final Fantasy series. Loading screens are only encountered when the player is entering a city or town. They can visit such locations to rest in hotels or buy equipment and ingredients for cooking during camping. The regalia can be driven by Noctis, or Ignis can control, enabling an auto-drive option. The regalia is maintained by the mechanic Cindy. Later in the game, the regalia can be modified to become an airship, allowing the player to fly across the world map. To ride Chocobus, the player must rent them. A day and night system affects the appearance of monsters on the world map. One in-game day equates to 1 hour real time, and characters who do not sleep have decreased combat ability. Enemy types, numbers and strength change depending on the time of day. Camping during the night is necessary for characters to maintain combat performance and level up. Experience points in battle during the day are converted into new levels during camping periods. Camps from a safe haven during exploration and cooking in them using ingredients from both towns and the wilds grants character stasis buffs. The buffs become weaker as time passes, with further meals needed to renew them. Once a campsite has been activated, the player can return to it at any time. Minigames such as fishing are also available. Quests can be taken from non-playable characters and bulletin boards for experience and gil. The in-game currency, items acquired in the world through gathering and combat, can be sold at areas called gathering points. The game's battle system, dubbed the Active Cross Battle System, is a similar spin-off to the real-time battle systems from Kingdom Hearts series and Final Fantasy Type O. Rather than the coursing of a menu interface, the player selects commands directly mapped to buttons on the controller, such as attack, defend, magic and item. There are also other actions such as jumping. Upon pressing the desired button, the character will then perform the desired move. Key to winning battles is said to be found in maintaining a constant and adaptable flow of appropriate actions done by both tapping and holding down command buttons. The battle scenes are seamlessly integrated into environments with no load screens or transitions. And at number 1, No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is an upcoming adventure survival video game developed and published by the indie studio Hello Games. The game is scheduled to be released worldwide in 2016 of June for PlayStation 4 and Microsoft Windows. No Man's Sky gameplay is built on 4 pillars: exploration, survival, combat and trading, in which players are free to perform within the entirety of the procedurally generated deterministic open universe, which includes over 18 quintillion planets, many with their own set of flora and fauna. By exploring, players will gain information about the planets that they can submit to the Atlas, a universal database that can be shared with other players of the game. Players can also gain materials and blueprints to upgrade their character's equipment and purchase a variety of starships, allowing them to travel deeper into the centre of the galaxy, survive on planets with hostile environments, interact in friendly or hostile manners to computer-controlled space-faring factions, or trade with other ships. Some activities will draw the attention of sentinels, which will attempt to kill the player for killing too many life forms or draining too many resources from the planet. Players participate in a shared universe, with the ability to exchange planet coordinates with friends. Though the game will also be playable offline, this is enabled by the procedural generation system that ensures players will find the same planet with the same features, life forms and other aspects once given the planet's coordinates. requiring no further data to be stored or retrieved from game servers. No Man's Sky represents a vision of a broad, attention-getting game that allowed games as had in place since formation of the company, set aside while they secured their financial well-being through other, less risky titles such as Joe Danger games. The game's original prototype was worked on by Allow Games' Sean Murray and then expanded into a small 5-man team tier to its first teaser in December 2013. Since then, more of Allow Games staff have worked on the game, with about a dozen developers leading up its release. Sony provided promotional and marketing support, but Allow Games refused by additional development support. Sony formally announced the title during their press conference at Electronic Entertainment Expo 2014, the first independently developed game to be presented at the Expo's centerpiece events. It's looking a pretty good game, and we will play this on the channel, but at the moment it's Star Citizen, so keep on watching. This was Ravencast Gaming. Please share, like, comment and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll be back next time.